Sir Topham Hatt had scheduled more trains to run to the other railway. James the Red Engine was making so many trips there that the sheds on the other railway felt like Tidman's sheds. Unfortunately, his new jobs were going right to his smoke box. Emery was resting in the yards one day. She had been pulling a freight train, and it had been very heavy. James backed down next to her. Emery steamed off, disgusted by the way James acted. Later, when she was something, James came toward her. Emery didn't reply. She wanted to cry. She didn't know why James was being so mischievous toward her. And he gave some trucks a hard bump. The trucks all quivered, and James puffed away. But what neither of them noticed was that Toby had been watching the whole scene from the goods station. He quietly steamed over to Emery. Later, Sir Topham Hatt walked towards her. Emery was cross. Then, she came up with a plan at the spare of a moment. She kept complaining. Her driver was becoming annoyed and didn't pay attention. One moment, she was backing down toward the turntable. The next, her tender and cab were sitting in the turntable well. Her driver said as he climbed out of the cab. She said, just then Gordon arrived. Gordon steamed away, laughing at his own wit. Sir Topham Hatt was most annoyed. She said softly. Emery said nothing. She realized that it would be the perfect thing to pay James out. James was fuming when he heard the news. He was very rough with the coaches as he arranged them into place. The train was heavy to begin with, but with only one engine pulling the train, it was exceptionally difficult. They whispered. At last they reached the hill. They yelled. They approached the station. They were going too fast to stop in time. Then all of a sudden, the coaches stopped pushing him. James skidded through the platform. He looked back to see 3 of the coaches were beyond the platform. The passengers were yelling and complaining as they got out of the coaches. They were demanding to know what happened. The coaches blamed it on James. A man asked James's driver. The passengers gathered around James and scolded him. Some passengers refused to ride on James any longer, so Bertie the bus came to pick them up. James couldn't think of anything to say. That night, Sir Topham Hatt paid a special visit to the sheds. James had seen him cross before, but never to the extent of what he was then. All the engines stayed silent. All the other engines stayed silent. Sir Topham Hatt wept, and James went unhappily to sleep. Emily returned home from the works a few days later. She went to the yards to collect some coal cars. As she backed down, she saw a very dirty engine arranging her cars. The engine was James. His once sunny red paint almost looked brown. He said nothing to her, and she said nothing to him. Once she left, James asked his driver to do something special later. Meanwhile, Emily was talking with Toby in the sheds. He stopped to see James backing down towards him. He stopped to see James backing down towards them. He said. The 2 engines sat there, pleased that they were friends, and still remain friends to this day.